Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
Welcome back to the F1 2018 career mode here, guys, and you join me for the Season 3 British Grand Prix. That's right, my home race, and we are bringing a weight reduction and a tyre wear upgrade to the car for my home Grand Prix. It's been a bit of a struggle over the past couple of seasons, and lo and behold, we're going to get some classic British weather in the race. It's going to rain. It wouldn't be a British Grand Prix without some rain. So, yeah, a bit of a struggle. In the first season, we were assassinated by a Sauber. And then last year, I can't even remember where we finished, but I know it was a little bit of an underwhelming performance. Nonetheless, we are in a Mercedes, and we are top of the tree. You can see we've bought another upgrade for Britain. Force India bringing another upgrade. So they are close on as how Red Bull dropped off a little bit. So they're not the fastest car or competing with us really like they were previously. Renault just behind them. Ferrari bringing their first upgrade of the season to close in amongst Renault. And the midfield is spreading back out again, having been a little bit spicy earlier on. But we've got 2,300, near enough 2,400 resource points. And the biggest area of development on the car, I would say, if we look at our closest competitors, it's Red Bull and Force India ahead of us on aero. So we're going to make a development into the front downforce, and that's where we're going to look to go after our recent chassis and power upgrades. But now it's time to get in to quali.
It's time once again then for qualifying here at Silverstone on what we're hoping will be a tight contest for pole position.
So here we are, we're ending out first lap, getting the Vale chicane not exactly very right, but nonetheless on the power, round the final corner, crossing the line. This was our first attempt. It's a 25.6. It was 8 tenths off the pace of provisional harm, put us behind the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg, but I knew I could do better because that left us P8 after everyone's first run. And we can definitely make an improvement considering we are supposed to be the fastest car on the grid. You can easily see already over a half a tenth improvement just through the first sector. Fully committed through there, and then we're coming up through the loop. Here we go, 4 tenths up, half a second up, but then we've run wide, and that's compromised my line through here. So that's going to drop our delta down horrifically, but coming the end of the first sector and at the end of the Wellington straight, we're 3 tenths up. However, I'm very weak through the first sector here. We're already a second and a half down on provisional pole position, but nonetheless, we're going to be trying harder, and we're going to be trying to get the best lap time possible. So here we go, Copse Corner. We've got to stay fully committed at 200 miles an hour, and we've run it wide a little bit, get a bit of a warning for a track extend, but to be honest, a lot of the AI are doing that as well then through Maggots and Beckett's. This is so satisfying to get right, and just look at the car hooked up on the apexes, over 6 tenths up, and we've actually managed to claw back a huge heap of time through the middle sector. We're only a couple of tenths down now on our the provisional pole time, and then through Stowe Corner. You've just got to wait for the front end to come in, then stamp on the power, and now we've got Vale and Club to go. So we just need to keep the front end in. There we go, take a lot of curb and then run it out. Utilise the acceleration zone through the final corner, across the line, and it's P4 is the best we can manage behind Valtteri Bottas. I went to try and go again, see if I could improve, but got tucked up behind the Sauber of Leclerc through Maggots and Beckett's, and that compromised my final run. So looks like P4 is going to be our best starting position. Let's see what we can do at our home race.
We're right back where it all began. The very first World Championship Grand Prix was held here at Silverstone in 1950, with Giuseppe Farina taking the top step of an all-Alfa Romeo podium. He earned 9 championship points that day on his way to the inaugural title. His winning total at the season's end, just 30 points. My, how times have changed. So let's see who can reach the top step of the modern podium today. Silverstone circuit then. It's 3.6 miles long and has a total of 18 corners. And of course, is no stranger to the rain. There won't be any DRS available in these conditions, but the Wellington and Hangar Straights are still good opportunities to tuck into the slipstream and make a pass. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Daniel Ricciardo. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. A fantastic effort from Esteban Ocon yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, the captain, Max Verstappen, and Hülkenberg, Vettel, Raikkonen, Alonso, and Pierre Gasly. Stroll, Sirotkin, Brendan Hartley. They've taken a grid penalty, and Leclerc, Grosjean, Ericsson, Carlos Sainz, and Stoffel van Dorn. Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So there you have it. That's where we're lining up. So it goes Force India, Mercedes, Force India, Mercedes. And we have a wet race to start with here at the British Grand Prix. So we're going to be running a set of intermediate tyres for the foreseeable future. And then just switching over to whatever dry tyres will really see out the race. So it's a one-stop, but it's about mastering these conditions and then trying to see if we have pace in the dry. So obviously I tried to commit the car to a dry setup, so that's probably not going to help me out too much at the start of this Grand Prix. So I'm fully expecting to fall back from Ocon and Bottas, but then hopefully we can put the pressure on late in the race. That's the plan anyway. Let's see how things work out as we go to the grid and build for the 5 red lights, which are now on at the British Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go. Ocon late away. Perez with an excellent start. Bottas not getting any drive. It's a Force India 1-2 into the first corner. No, Bottas sneaks his way through. Perez moving slowly. We just about avoid the back of him there. We retain 4th. However, he opens up the inside line into Abbey and through the loop. We'll be taking that position up into 3rd place. Esteban Ocon leads from Valtteri Bottas. We are up into P3 and Sergio Perez down to P4. And then it looks like the Renault of Hülkenberg retains P5. So obviously in the wet, we're able to save a bit more fuel. We're not going to be pushing as hard with rich mix. So I've taken a boatload of fuel out of the car. But you can see now lap 2, Bottas maybe closing the gap a little bit to Esteban Ocon, but I am struggling in these conditions, especially in the first sector. I'm not really able to get the car sunk down and not really able to get on the power, and it's opening me up down towards here into Luffield and through the left-hander of Brooklands, and Perez really trying to have a go, and we've got to wait for the front end to come around in Luffield. He won't try and have a go into Copse in the wet. However, it's really hard in these conditions, especially because Silverstone's got a lot of flowing, fast corners, and having not the right amount of downforce is really costing me. You can see we move on to lap 4. Ocon and Bottas right the way down the road. Perez tried to have a go into Abbey of all places, but that didn't really work out for him. So, but we just about get it slowed down. But look at the way we're sliding and having to counter steer. I'm having to wrestle and fight this Mercedes rather than drive it round this circuit. So I mean, Ocon and Bottas haven't got too far away, but the fact of the matter is for lap 4 that's a big gap, and I'm realistically now pushing Perez back into the path of Hülkenberg and Ricciardo. But still, end of lap 5 now. Ocon sets the pace, Bottas sets the pace, 39.5. We are also into the 39, so it's not moving too badly, and we are slowly pulling away from the chasing field behind us. So you've got a Force India leading a Mercedes, and then a Mercedes leading a Force India, 39.5 from Esteban Ocon. We do a 39.8. So we're not moving too slowly, but we are losing a couple of tenths per lap to the couple of cars ahead of us here, while Perez is harrying me. But I'm now starting to get the grips of the conditions, and we're now definitely starting to get the pace down a little bit, trying to carry a bit of speed there through the first corner. The car can get very twitchy if you try to hold it flat. And now on lap 10 we have a VSC. I'm not 100% sure what's happened here, but oh, Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race.
Information on Ricciardo. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo started 19th, if you remember correctly, due to a grid penalty, and that's unfortunate for Danny Rick, 'cause he loves Silverstone, but you can see it here now. The rain's easing up a little bit, and I'm making the executive decision to come in right now. We haven't got a message about DRS being disabled, but we're going to come in now, and I haven't really attacked the pit lane at all, 'cause it's very easy to speed here, but the rain's very light, the rain's very delicate. It hasn't stopped, though, albeit it has now stopped streaking off the front of my car, and we're the only one making a pit stop. This could be an early gamble. This could be hero or zero territory. Medium tyres. The rain was supposed to last just over the midway point. I've pit literally almost on the midway point. Lap 12 out of 26, so just a little bit low. Hopefully there's a big gap here between Gasly and Stroll. Are we going to come out in the middle of it? It's a very long pit lane here at Silverstone. Oh no, here comes a big old train of cars. Please tell me we're going to get out ahead of them. I don't think we are. We're going to feed out right in the middle of this train. No, we're going to be at the back of it. Sainz gets through. We brake late and we kind of barge against Romain Grosjean there. But this is not where I wanted to come out, where I'm not going to be very sure on my tyres, because I need to get them up to temperature. And realistically, I needed a bit of space. But I've come out. DRS is enabled now, actually. And I need to come out in a bit of space so I can get the hammer down, because Grosjean now is attacking me, and I need to get the front end in if I can. I'm very unsure at the moment if these tyres are going to give me any grip. And obviously, even if they were giving me grip, I'd be fighting midfield teams when I need to be worried about where Sergio Perez is going to be on track. You can see I'm fighting the car. Perez, seeing the opportunity, goes around again. Fastest lap of the race, released out from behind me. Meanwhile, I've cost myself time through Maggots and Beckett's, and I'm once again having to fight Grosjean into Stowe. So our car's coming into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Answer is yes. So the track is definitely in the crossover period. Bottas and Ocon are cruising down the pit lane. I think I saw Bottas ahead of Esteban Ocon, actually. Sorokin carries on. That opens the door a little bit for me to push on, but you can see the gap to the two cars ahead has extended. Hulkenberg comes out now, so we're still ahead of him. But at the end of this lap, are we going to be ahead of Sergio Perez? Has he potentially done the fastest lap of the race? And is he then going on one too long, as we've now been able to successfully make a pass on Sergei Sorokin through the loop? So is it now that the dry tyres are the tyres to be on? As yes, Sorokin has fallen off at the end of this lap. Perez went for one lap more, and he's in the pit lane as well as one of the Ferraris. So I'm hoping that us being tucked up behind Grosjean hasn't cost us too badly here. In fact, Perez still cruising down the pit lane. I think we're going to be comfortably ahead of him as we do a 35-1 for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And thankfully, we pass the Force India of Perez, and we've actually built a little bit of a gap to him. That extra lap on the intermediates clearly not working out for Sergio Perez, but that first lap he showed initially a lot of promise, and now the cars ahead get the hammer down. Ocon a 32.3 as the conditions improve. We do a 32.1, so preliminary pace looks impressive. Can we now try and hunt down Ocon and Bottas as they are starting to battle? Now they're on the dry tyres. A 30.3 from Esteban Ocon. We round the final corner, a 30.5. So Ocon pulls it back, but we made a slight mistake. Perez now with the speed advantage on a 30.1. And as the track improves, as we get more grip, Bottas now leads the race on a 28.8 as he forces his way past Ocon through the final sector. We're on a 29.3, and I think we're actually, even though preliminary speed looked good, we're starting to drop off Ocon. 28.2. Fastest lap of the race. We come across the line. 28.8. Perez 27.6. Sergio Perez is flying at this point of the Grand Prix, and we've now got a real fire in our hands to try and keep him behind, because now he's going to have the assistance of DRS. And look at the speed Perez has got up towards Brooklands. We've squeezed him, and that's going to compromise his entry. We sweep back around the outside of the Force India, but this is going to be a huge fight between former teammates at my home Grand Prix. We crossed the line, and it's a 28.5. Perez has dropped back, actually. He's now nearly a couple of seconds back from me, so personal best lap of the Grand Prix. Ocon and Bottas still fighting for the lead as they are chopping and changing every single lap. Another personal best onto a 28.4, but I don't see myself breaking into the 27s anytime soon. I don't know what's happened to Perez, but he's now 3.2 seconds behind me. I don't know if maybe he's clipped me at some point when I swept around the outside. I didn't hear any contact sound, but He's now lost the place to Hulkenberg. Bottas now that he leads the Grand Prix, a 27.3. The two cars in front of me just going faster and faster. And, yeah, Perez dropped down to P5. Hulkenberg's taken the position from him, so I don't know if he maybe, when I went around the outside of him, I don't know if maybe I clipped him or he clipped me. But, we've moved on to the final lap. Bottas and Ocon lead. I've got 4.2 seconds to Hulkenberg. Our previous lap was a 27.7, so we did get there in the end, just a little bit too late. And, well, reflecting back on this Grand Prix, in our reflection lap that I like to do, not really. Didn't really do too well. You know, it's a distant P3. I didn't really have the speed to contend with the front runners, but at least somehow I kept Perez behind. But anyway, we're going to move on to near the end of the lap, because coming up to the Vale chicane, you're going to see it, final lap of the Grand Prix. Bottas and Ocon, like they've been all the end of the race, side by side. Bottas holds position, but through the final corner, Ocon pushes him wide, and Ocon steals the win at the final corner from Valtteri Bottas. Ocon wins in Britain, and we get P3.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Force India have really come a long, long way in this sport. And what a special race this was, to see them earn that top spot.
So, stolen on the line. Esteban Ocon wins the British Grand Prix. I suppose I won the French Grand Prix, taking it away from him. He wins the British Grand Prix, taking it away from Valtteri Bottas, my teammate, finishing in second place. I'm happy with P3, considering I know that I've struggled around this track. So to be on the podium at my home Grand Prix is always nice. So we'll take solace there. Nico Hulkenberg in P4 beats Sergio Perez to the line, who really dropped off near the end of that Grand Prix. I'm not too sure particularly what happened with him there, but he gets P5. Verstappen 6th, and the lead Red Bull, of course, after Daniel Ricciardo's retirement. Raikkonen and Ferrari back in the points there with P7. Gasly a good showing for Toro Rosso in at P8. Sebastian Vettel, though, finishing up P9. Not a great one for the German. And Carlos Sainz 17th to 10th in his Renault. We now take a look at the driver's standings. We are 26 points clear of Esteban Ocon, who pulls ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in the driver's standings. And then Max Verstappen, of course, P4. Valtteri Bottas, P5. If Perez was more reliable, he would have a hell of a lot more points than me, hustling me like Ocon is as well. But over to the constructor side of things, Mercedes finally take the lead away from Red Bull Racing due to them dropping off and our consistent performance. We take the lead 269 to 247. So a successful British Grand Prix, in my personal opinion, for the team and myself. But we'll now cool down and catch up with Claire.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race.
Well, the strategy was make wet tyres last, then change to dryers when needed. It is what it is.
Did you feel comfortable in the wet weather today?
I didn't bloody look it, that's for sure. I wish I'd probably put a wet setup on the car, but that would have compromised the end of the race. So, you know, it seems alright.
That was a close finish. How were things between the two of you?
I'd like to say good. I'm a little bit cheesed off that he let Ocon steal the win, but again, is what it is.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
It never really can be in the wet. You know, you gotta just have allowances for things just happening when you don't expect them to.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Well, there we have the British Grand Prix, guys, coming off the back of that one. A podium, so I can't really complain too loudly about that result. We still lead the Drivers' Championship by just over a win from Esteban Ocon, but it clearly goes to show, even though that the Force India on paper isn't the fastest car, Ocon really performing, so we need to keep an eye out for him. And I knew this was going to be a weaker track for me, so for us to get P3 when I fully expected P4 or maybe worse, definitely a good result in my book. We now move on to one of my more favourite tracks, and a track that I performed better at on the calendar, which is the German Grand Prix, and obviously back-to-back. So Obviously, Silverstone is me as a driver, my home race, so we want to perform there. And, of course, the German Grand Prix is the home race for Mercedes-Benz. So we need to do well there, both myself and Valtteri Bottas. But leave a like if you did enjoy, guys, and comment any feedback down below. It is always greatly appreciated. I am trying to get all of Season 3 up before F1 2019 drops. Curse Cody's for bringing the game out earlier this year. But yeah, no, at this time of recording, I have 13 days to get another 12 parts up. So we will see, as it were. But on that bombshell, and for the German Grand Prix, I will see you all next time.